Right, so it's day 3 of the Tyndrum prospecting trip. I've just got back to the hole. It's a nicer day today, bits of blue sky, lots of bits of sun, so the snow is starting to melt a little bit, so the water level is a little bit higher, but obviously there's still plenty of snow about, so it hasn't fully melted all yet. But we'll see how that goes during the trip. This is the slab that I've been working. I don't know how well you'll be able to see, but I managed to get right underneath the slab with the 4-inch pump, further than you'll be able to get with the 2.5-inch really. Right underneath. This is a huge slab that's just sat on bedrock to the left there. That's all just surface bedrock that's channeling down, and as I say, this slab's going around and back down. All of these tailings are from underneath it. As I say, I've started right in front of it, and then I've been going underneath it as well. I say this is what I'm going to be spending the rest of the trip with, well, as long as it continues to pay out like it was yesterday, ideally a little bit better, but there were still some nice bits coming out yesterday, which was an encouraging sign. So I've just got everything set up, just about to get the pump, start filling the first bucket and get it sluiced through. Right, so there's the result of the first bucket. A couple of nice sized pieces, a couple of smaller specky pieces as well. Nice variety of sizes in there, so it's good to be back on decent sized bits and pieces straight away on the first bucket of the day. It's a good sign, so it shows the hole's worth continuing with, so I'm going to crack on, get these snuffed up and get ready and get another bucket rattled out. Right, so that's bucket number 2, ran, sluiced, panned, and some more really nice pieces. Looks as though the slab's a good working place, so definitely going to continue with this for the rest of the trip. I say if it continues like this, I'm going to be quite happy at the end of the trip. Still nothing's mega chunky, mega big or anything, but they're still good sized pieces compared to just the usual specky, dotty, tiny little pieces, so more to add to the snuffer bottle and crack on with bucket number 3. Right, so that's another bucket down, ran, sluiced, panned, and probably 2 of the biggest pieces so far, as well as good selection of other size bits as well. So yeah, quite happy with those. As I say, they're just going to get snuffed up, crack on and get another bucket out. Probably stop and have some lunch shortly as well. But that's not a bad result. It shows that the slab's not a bad slab, so quite happy with that. especially considering the first day where it was just a couple of specks here and there, so shows it was a good decision to move on as well. So get those snuffered out and crack on and get in the bucket run. Now you probably can't make it out very well, but underneath the slab there's a huge boulder just underneath there. I've been working to try and get that out for quite a while now, been working all the way around it. I can get my rake head just behind it, but it hasn't been shifting. So that last bucket, hopefully that's exposed a bit more of it. I can see a few bigger stones next to it, so hopefully I'll be able to get those out, then get that big slab out, and hopefully under that slab might be some really nice paste. So that's what I'm going to try and get out now, and fill a bucket if I can. I've just stopped for a lunch break, sluiced through a bucket that I prepared just before lunch, just about to pan it out, but I did actually see a nice picker in the very top part of the mat, so I'm expecting to see that in the pan. Don't know what else is going to be there, but I know there was at least one nice bit, so get this panned out and see what's in it. Right, well there's the results of that bucket. There's the one really nice bigger bit. I don't know how well the camera's going to make it out, but it actually looks quite like a boot, so I'll call that one Italy. The rest are just smaller, slightly smaller pieces, but still I'm quite pleased with that bigger piece. So into the snuffer bottle it goes, and crack on and probably get another 2 or 3 buckets done for the day. Well, there's another bucket filled, ready to sluice out. The tailings pile on top of the boulder's getting quite substantial now. But the good thing about piling it on top of the boulder is when I'm actually finished with the hole, I'll just be able to rake it all straight back in and fill the hole straight away. That's why I've also piled up all of the bigger stones along the side there. So again, when I'm done, I'll just be able to throw all of those back in, rake all of this on top, and then it'll be as though I wasn't even here when I leave. So I'm going to get this one sluiced through, get it ran through, get it panned, and see what's in this one. Just a few smaller pieces and one slightly larger piece that time, but I was working more the left hand side of the hole. I was starting to get out of material towards that side, so now I'm going to move back over to the right. And yesterday when I was running tests, the left hand side was a little less productive than the right hand side, but it's just because I'm getting that deep now. I'm almost scraping what looks like could be the bottom, so I just want to make sure it was completely clear on the left. And that looks as though that's going to be the last piece from the left hand side before I start moving over to the right again. So get this snuffered up, have another quick break, and crack on with another bucket. Another bucket down, sluiced, panned, and 2 really nice pieces on that one compared to everything else around it as well. You can see there's actually some shape and texture to those 2, and a little bit of shadow forming off the bigger one as well. It's nice to see. That's off the right hand side of the hole again, so there's going to be plenty of material on there to keep me going as well, so that's a good sign to keep me going. Don't know how long I'm actually going to be staying for, because I've just had a tooth filling fall out, so we'll see how that goes. It's not causing me any jip at the moment, but if it does I might have to call the trip short, but quite happy and pleased with pieces like that, so I'll keep going as long as those keep coming out, and the tooth's okay, so we'll see how we get on. Right, well that's the last bucket of the day sluiced, panned, and again a few nice sized pieces in there, a few smaller dottier bits as well. So the slightly sizable chunks are slowly adding up in the snuffer bottle. So we're getting there slowly but surely. So yep, that's about it for the day. Probably one more day. I probably won't do Saturday, I'll probably just do it tomorrow and then head back home. But it's getting there. As I said, the hole's quite deep now, and I'm working all the way down the right hand side, and this is where the last 2 buckets have come from, so it's going to be easy enough to just rake everything straight back into there as well and level it all off, so not a bad day's work really.